Hello and welcome to the Utah Hockey Podcast. My name is Kelly Queel and I am here with I always say delightful. Now I'm going to mess up. I forgot. Okay,
This
hi.
is the
I'm
best
here with my
intro that we've
co-host.
had, actually.
Yeah.
Don't cut this. Keep going.
I didn't come up with an adjective today. Sorry. It's been a week. It's been quite the week. We are so excited to not only have one of our favorite enforcers for the Utah Mammoth, Mr. Liam O'Brien, Mr. Spicy Tuna, on the podcast with us. And Liam O'Brien was kind enough this episode to bring on Dr. Alicia Naser, who is a board certified sports analyst who specializes in behavioral psychology. And we are so thrilled to have you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Liam, thank you for inviting me on.
Glad to be back.
Liam, tell us a little bit about who Alicia is to you and how you began working together.
Yeah, so Alicia helps me navigate just the profession of being a professional hockey player year round. She's somebody that she's available at all times, and I can throw, anything, any problems, concerns that I have and we just kind of problem solve, and she gives me the tools to just stay consistent and continue to just perform at a high level over and over and over again. And yeah, it's been great. We've worked together now almost a year, and we just keep making strides every month. So it's been a pleasure.
Dr. Nasser, do you mind giving us a little bit of your background? You have a doctorate, obviously.
Yeah, of course. So my PhD is in applied behavior analysis. So what that means is it's the study of human behavior. And where else do we see a ton of human behavior besides in a rink, right? And on the ice, on and off the ice. My background though, before that, I had 10 years working in a clinical setting, in specializing in neurobehavioral disabilities and neurobehavioral areas. And so what that did is it gave me a really solid understanding and a strong foundation of understanding behavior at the most complex level. And I think when it comes to NHL players, sometimes it seems, it's more than just the X's and O's, as we know, right? A lot of it, especially now, I'm glad we're doing this podcast because it's getting talked about more and more, the mental side of the game. And it's really an important area that for a long time, I think, went overlooked. And now not so much anymore. Guys are realizing like, hey, if I'm going to be a well-rounded player and I'm going to have all of the tools at my disposal to give me an edge in the hardest league in the world, then having somebody who can help me with the mental side of the game is really important. And so what I did is I shifted my focus from working in a clinical setting in a hospital setting to working with athletes. It was actually right around the time COVID hit. So that's where that switch came from of like, I need to find something else to do because I had left the hospital. And there's like a whole backstory to how that came to be, but really everything is behavior. So the way that I saw it was if I'm working on behaviors in the hospital, then there's also so many behaviors outside the hospital, and sports is recession proof. So it worked out really great for me. And, and the guys are so fun. Like Liam's so fun. It's very much the way I run my business is very much, it's very close and tight knit, and it feels like family, and everyone is very close. And because their playing careers matter a lot to me and how they feel and their overall well-being. So when I made the switch, it was really about teaching NHL front office first, like a lot of front office staff, because they're the ones kind of, guiding the ship a bit sometimes, but also a lot of these players that, hey, your thoughts are also behaviors. So how can I give you strategies and protocols to help you manage the mental side of the game throughout an 82 game season, because it is very long and rigorous, and then even so much more into playoffs as well. And so that's where that really came from. So it's been about 4 years now, going on 5 of working with athletes, and I specifically focus on hockey. I do have a couple of players or a couple of athletes that are outside of hockey in golf and tennis. But I find that I really like the competitiveness that hockey brings. And I didn't realize, I used to be competitive, but I didn't realize how competitive I am until I started working with them again. And now I'm like, let's go, So,
Yeah.
so that element of it has been really fun. It brings Like no day is the same, no athlete is the same, no game is the same. And so like even with working with Liam, for example, it's really about how to support him game to game because every game is unique, every shift is unique, how he's feeling on and off the ice. Like he has a family. There's a lot of players I work with that have families. That's a whole thing during the season as well. And just really making sure that they're feel good in a well-rounded way.
How did you come about choosing hockey as I guess the main sport that you were going to be focusing on helping athletes?
Yeah, of course. So it's a good question. I get this question so much. I think people are always just like, how? Like what? Why? They're like, did you play hockey? Like, no, I was a gymnast, but
I feel like for
and that
most
was
people, it's this like niche sport that
it is. Well, it is, but that
an
helps
emerging
me.
sport. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
course.
it is, and it's great. And it is that part, the fact that it is so niche helps me very much in terms of my business and getting my work out to these guys and helping them. But to answer your question, the way that I got into it, so I'm born and raised in Michigan and big hockey, obviously in Michigan. And I think it really has a lot to do with the fact that the algorithm was kind of working in my favor where I live 20 minutes outside Detroit. So University of Michigan and Michigan State are both great hockey schools. They're not very far. And really the algorithm does feed you people within your proximity.
Yep.
And so I was posting general psychology content, but I needed to make a switch because it was like pulling teeth, getting the general person to invest in my services. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to have to dig deep to get people to realize how it can help them. And what happened was, as a hockey player from Michigan State, his name's Carson Dorwart. He now plays for the Philadelphia Flyers. And he actually had DM'd me and he was like, hey, I wanted to let you know, like, I tried the strategy you posted and it really helped.
Wow.
And from there, I was like, whoa, this could be it. Like, it kind of clicked that I needed to niche down. And so I asked him for feedback. And then from there, I was like, what other things do you struggle with? And he had told me, and I started creating more content around it. And then from there, I just started cold DMing. I was like, maybe let me see what I can do with this hockey thing. And I was like, I started cold DMing players and just asking them if they would work with me in exchange for a video testimonial because I know I needed social proof because I didn't have a history of working with NHL players at the time.
Right.
And so they said yes, and it worked out really well. And then from there, things just grew. And was like, do I expand? Do I not? Like, even right now, and anybody who's listening, I have a newsletter, and it's called Blades and Behavior, and I give free strategies and protocols. Actually, it's not so much free anymore. Now it's behind a paywall, so I should take that back. But I give strategies and protocols. And the part of that, though, I was like, should I not call it Blades and Behavior? Should I be more universal? But the NHL is growing, and especially after Four Nations, it's really getting a lot more attention, which I'm so excited for the sport. And I was, like I said, I have some athletes in other sports, but I don't see an issue with staying hockey specific. I think if anything, it's just going to keep growing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I stayed on this trail to answer your question about how I got into hockey. And I'm from Detroit, big Red Wings fan, obviously. I wasn't that big of a fan. Now I'm a huge now I'm a huge hockey fan from working with the guys because now I understand the game more.
Yeah.
I understand it on a much deeper level than I ever did. Before
Yeah.
I was like, I can't see the puck. I don't know what's happening. This guy's fighting this guy. Like, I don't know.
It's not this
But
guy's
now
fighting this guy. It's spicy too. Continue.
But now understanding it at such a deeper level, and it's very intimate, my work with all of my clients, and just hearing what they go through on a daily basis. Like, just because they're professional athletes doesn't mean that their life is easy, right? And they have struggles as well. And so that really gave me appreciation for the game. And so I was like, let's just stick with hockey.
Well, Michael hates the Red Wings. Like, just despises them
Now.
so much.
Now.
Oh yeah, definitely
moving
not
on, though.
a Red
Moving
Wings
on.
fan anymore.
He gave it up immediately.
Liam, I wanted to ask you, I feel like that's kind of a good point to bridge to this question is, what is it like mentally to go through 82 hockey games? What
With a baby.
Yeah,
with a baby.
with everything.
And she's chatty and she's active.
But like what things?
She's just getting more active and more chatty.
I just think also having had the move, right? Like your entire team moves up here. Like I can't even fathom. I have kids and I'm stressed not moving and starting a new career that takes me all over the country, out of the country. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have tons of support, but for sure, it's it's physically it's taxing, mentally, of course, taxing. You don't always feel your best, right? And the game is very much so mental. And it's almost some nights you're tricking yourself. You're just tricking yourself into feeling good. And I think I don't know who said it to me, but I think there's like in an 82 game season, you probably feel, 100% maybe 15 games. And then
It's the
the
first 10 and
other,
then 5 throughout the rest of the way.
40, 50, you feel, okay. And then the other ones you feel terrible. So it's like, it's just at this level, at the NHL level, the biggest thing is consistency and performing well, whether you're feeling good or not. And a lot of that is mental.
Yeah.
I would say it's most of it is mental.
Yeah.
And that's where Alicia comes in. That's where she's able to provide me help and tools to go into those games where I'm not feeling my best, but coming out and having a good performance anyways. So
Can I just add something to what he's saying,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really important. So what he's speaking on is absolutely true, obviously. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know how these guys do it, right? I can't even. Sometimes I shouldn't admit this, but I get walking up the stairs. I'm like, this is a struggle, and then they're really, So I'm like, rough. And part of what he's talking about, though, is how the mental fatigue can get to you and actually directly links to confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And also your ability to risk take on the ice, and also your ability to make plays and to read the puck and to do all of these things. And so a lot of what we work on, not just with Liam, but all of my clients, is how do you manage that fatigue and maintain like a high level of performance at the highest level in the hardest league in the world, so that when you go out there, you can make decisions with the puck, but you can also feel confident, because it is mostly all mental. And mentally, how you interpret fatigue and how you interpret pain. We know that hockey players are notorious for going out there and playing on pain, right?
Yeah.
And that's also why I kind of can't work with other. I mean, I shouldn't say this either. A lot of things I shouldn't say that I'm
We
saying.
know we're
But,
biased
like,
too, Alicia.
Yeah,
we know.
yeah. I'm like,
You're gonna lay down there the whole time. You're just gonna lay there. They're getting back up constantly.
Exactly.
It's a superior sport. It's okay.
We're biased.
Yeah,
We know.
We said that,
Okay,
not
good.
you, not
So
you.
you're saying we set the bar that high, hey?
100%. 100%. I can't see another, like, let's say basketball player sitting on the bench because he sprained his finger. I mean, let's go. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the mental
really
fatigue
like
piece.
I really like you. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, that's part of our team, I think. The three of us, we're big hockey fans, so it makes perfect
Well,
sense.
Liam, what about like and Alicia? I'm curious to hear what you have to say on this. Obviously, so much of it is mental, right? Not just like tricking yourself, like you said, Liam, into feeling, acting like you feel good. But what about ups and downs? What about like when you're playing really well as opposed to when you're not playing really well? How do you push through that? And what Alicia, what's your advice to players when maybe they're experiencing a down period in terms of their game and it's weighing on them mentally?
Liam, do you want to go, or do you want me to take it first?
Yeah, you could take it. You can take it.
So the first thing is, and Liam and I worked a lot on this in the beginning of when we first started working together, and I'm really impressed with like how much he's grown in this area. And it's not just him; it's every client I work with, but specifically, like, I think we should give a couple clicks to how much he's grown in this area.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the fact that as an athlete, when you make a mistake or when something happens, it's very grandiose in the mind. The mind will like emphasize it and highlight it and make it much bigger than it is. So to your point about the ups and downs, it's like, well, how do we minimize that down so it's not such a down, right? And how do we just make it more of a baseline level of like, all right, it wasn't great. You're feeling some type of way, but let's not let it consume you, right? And so part of it is that, and then also part of it is not so much going based on how you feel, but going based on the data and the evidence that you have that you're performing well.
Yeah.
Because hockey's very intricate and it's very unique in that shift to shift things change drastically. And you could have had a good shift and 2 shifts later, you didn't have a not so great shift. And so it's really, and that is part of the ups and downs, I think, that you're also talking about at a smaller level.
Yeah.
But the whole season at a grander level is really about not going based on how you feel, because you're not always going to feel good. And your emotions are not always accurate guidelines to follow.
Yeah. Liam,
That's good advice because I'm at
sure.
a really low point in my beer league right now.
I was
and
just about to say that. I was like, I don't know why I relate to this
Need
so
to-
well in my
need to
crappy little
hone in.
league, but I
Not
do.
going in the net
no,
bags or what?
no. Oh, dude, my puck handling is
His
atrocious.
stick
right
broke.
now.
He's been a mess ever since.
I've got a new stick and it's like got way more curve on it and it's
Blame it on the
just-
stick.
Yeah.
Blame it on the stick.
No,
okay.
I mean-
Honestly, it probably is the stick. If it's got if you went out and got a banana curve and now you can't stick handle, it probably is the stick.
It's Crosby's stick, and I've never played with Crosby's stick before. I had an Easton Mako before this, which is basically just like a flat piece of wood, whereas Crosby's like curves back and forth. I'm like, dude,
Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Crosby's curve is like straight. They sold you the wrong curve.
Well, then they sold the wrong curve because it's
No,
like,
no. They knew who Cole Bagley was, slapped a Crosby sticker on it,
Yeah,
and was
they
like,
did.
"We'll just
Yeah.
give it to them."
This guy
Fine.
will
He'll buy it.
Fine.
Yeah, he'll
Fine.
buy it.
anything.
It was free.
He'll
It
buy
actually
it.
was
No,
free.
there
but
you
like Sid's blade is legit like this straight. Like there's like nothing to it.
Well, then
Have you ever
something-
seen it?
something.
Wrong one.
No,
Look,
I
you
haven't.
should you got to Google it. So Google
You
it
know
so you
you're
can make a
wrong.
comparison to what you bought, and
It's
then
in my
maybe you
car. I'll
can
have
bring
to
it in
grab
and say this is not right.
That
Yeah.
is hilarious. I just want to say thank you, Liam, because opening up about your mental health in general, like, is obviously it's a major talking point, especially recently, because it's really tough to do. And I commend you for being willing to share and open up about it. It's not easy. I can relate. Like, I come off the bench and I'm really hard on myself, and it doesn't matter at all. We call ourselves first and fun. It doesn't matter. I just go home and go to bed. It's fine. But for you to feel like there's so many stakes on every play that you make and every move that you make, must feel so challenging.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's the. I mean, Alicia says this a lot. Pressure is privilege, right?
Yes.
And I'm lucky to do what I do. I just think I knew I needed to do something to help my performance, and I knew that there was just days where I wasn't feeling good, and it was hurting my performance, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to get some help, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know I'm not the only guy that does this, and there's, I would say, majority. I don't know what the percentage would be, but there's a lot of guys that are doing the same thing, and
Yeah.
if I'm not feeling good, it's not even just about me at the rink, but it's also about me at home. I have a responsibility to my daughter and to my wife and to my family and my friends to be, a good and loving husband and father and friend. And I just want to be that as much as I can, and it's bigger than just hockey. So I'm just happy that I found Alicia, and I'm just soaking in everything that she's teaching me, and it's just been a great process.
Alicia, what's your advice to your clients in terms of social media? And Liam, hopefully I never said anything that set you off with my reporting or anything like that. But,
That's why he called her initially.
but like,
Freaking Cole Bagley.
Bags thinks he knows everything.
but like, players have never been more subjected to what people think of them,
Yeah.
than right now, right? Like, a player could jump on X or Instagram and see so much negativity, wherever they are. So, do you have, how do you advise players in terms of that area?
Well, it's an interesting question, because the players that I currently work with and have worked with, I don't think they paid much attention.
That's
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. And I always mention it at the beginning. I'm like, hey, we don't do this thing where we look at comments, right? Like, that's a non-negotiable. We're not doing that. And most of them are like, yeah. And most of them are just like, yeah, I don't look anyway. I'm like,
That's
okay, good. But I do tell them, if you do look and something bothers you, like, bring it up, or we'll talk about it. So they don't, but also, like, I'm fortunate and really grateful for the fact that the guys that I work with are really much dialed in, and they're dialed in, and they know that they don't have time for that. They know that and my hope is that I teach them enough, and to kind of answer your question for maybe players who do look at comments, is that my hope is that I teach these guys enough of how to be so self-assured, because self-assurance is the pillar of self-esteem. That if you're so self-assured, somebody can say whatever. It is what it is. Now, when it comes to like around trade deadline time, that's a little different because everyone's like, there's a lot of unknown. But when it comes to like, someone you have no idea, you don't know who these people are in the comment section of something, these guys really, I don't think are paying too much attention, at least from my experience, which is good. But if somebody is, I mean, the way that I would approach that is, we can say like, okay, you can't control what somebody else says. Don't let it bother you. But the fact is we're human. We do let it bother us. So I'm not in the camp of don't let it bother you. It's like, okay, fine, let it bother you, but only for a certain duration of time. Maybe let's say 4 minutes and that's about it. And then after that, you have to commit to your values. And if your values are to work hard, to get on the ice, to do what you need to do, then you have to recommit after you're done being bothered by the thing. So I'm very much like a realist. Liam reminds me all the time that I'm very much like a realist in how I approach my work, that we have to be realistic. They're humans. So it's going to bother them, of course, but it's then about what you do with being bothered.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that's
As Taylor Swift said this week.
No.
I heard.
That's exactly what Dr. Nasser just said. She's just repeating what Taylor Swift said this week.
I'm not repeating what Taylor Swift said. I knew that before Taylor Swift.
Think
I just
of your
wanted to say.
energy
Taylor
as
Swift-
currency.
She actually works with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I knew it. That's why Taylor could say that. That makes so much sense. She is an athlete, as we know. 3.5 hours in heels. It's athletic.
she does get more screen time in the NFL than I think most of the players. So
Yeah.
Probably more than all the players.
that's true.
Honestly, crazy. It is crazy.
Liam, can you speak to anything that she referenced, like a time? You don't have to get into specifics, but a time where you had to work on something and Alicia helped you like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at my season last year, I barely played from the start of the season till after Christmas, right? And so that was just a tough time. Like when you're not playing, you're not in the game, you're not getting those touches. Sometimes your confidence can kind of waver. And I think all the work we did in those months allowed me to come back. And it was that game in Edmonton where, Kel's got sick and I get a call, I'm legit in my bed sleeping and I get a call from Bear and Bear, and he's like, hey, like, I think you're going to be playing tonight. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And then I got I'm late for the meeting, late for everything, right? And to jump out and warm up, and then it's like, okay, you're getting thrown in, right? And just all the work we did, my confidence, I had my confidence and I was ready for the moment. And I mean, if I didn't do all that work, like that might have gone south, right? But it went north, and then I got myself in a position where I was like, I earned my keep, and I was playing consistently again. So yeah, it's season. There's ups and downs, and it's great to have someone like Alicia who can help navigate you through those ups and downs, and also like when you're really high too, also like keep you level headed and so no, I'm grateful for those months leading up to that moment for sure.
I think he's also touching on a really important point where it's not just if something is going wrong or if something's going well. It's about just being ready. And so I stress that a lot. And a lot of the content I put out is like, I don't care if you're having the season of your life or if your season, you're tanking it. It's why not work on it? Because then you just have the tool at your disposal when you need it. And you just overall feel better as a human being. And then you're prepared for situations like this. I remember that he texted me. He was like, Alicia, I'm playing. I'm like, what?
Now?
Now? I'm like, crap, I gotta just gotta watch the game. What are we doing?
Keller was poisoned, so it worked out.
That's the thing. Like nobody sees that side, right?
Yeah.
Of the game.
Yeah.
They don't understand. Like, oh, this guy,
Just
Guy was
arrived.
He was just napping.
Yeah,
He was
just
just
taking-
napping.
he got bag skate in the morning, and he was taking his afternoon
Nap.
nap.
Hello, Mr. McDavid. It's me. I'm playing against you
Oh, yeah.
tonight.
Oh, Mr. Drysdale, Mr. McDavid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Alicia, I'm curious, and you know, you don't have to get overly specific, but is there a commonality amongst the players and clients that you have that everybody seems to struggle with, or is there anything that they kind of all sort of deal with that you focus on the most?
Yeah, it's so funny too that you're asking that because I actually just put a poll up on Instagram to see if people could guess what the most. It literally is not unless you saw it, but it's
I
it's a
did
good
not.
question for today. Okay, well there we go. So Mercury is in retrograde, so maybe it's that. Okay, so it definitely consistency. They come to me saying that they want support with consistency and then dealing with the pressure, so performing under pressure, but the consistency also that's the main thing. But then it opens up a door to a lot of other things, and so that's where like when I do an assessment where I have certain assessments that I do to figure out what is it actually that's a barrier to the consistency. And so a lot of that times it has to do with a whole host of things depending on the player. So their lack of confidence, their lack of ability to know how to get themselves out of a mental rut, their lack of being able to regulate their nervous system and their emotions and all that. So consistency is the main thing that they come to me with, but then the patterns really are like a lack of, like I said, confidence, a lack of self-trust, hesitating. There's a lot of hesitating that goes on when it's coming from players who shouldn't be hesitating because they're so great. But you can be so great and also not believe it at the same time.
Yeah. I think that's the first time I've heard you reference confidence, and it makes so much sense to me because it's not that they don't have the skill. It's the confidence that they need to perform at their highest level that it feels like they lack or that they're struggling with or that they need to be consistent in. It makes a lot of sense.
Liam,
But the skill that, to your point, though, I want to say that to your point, they don't have the hockey skill, or I'm sorry, they have the skill in terms of hockey.
Careful.
In terms of hockey, the hockey is there for sure, and that's what I
Yes.
tell them is like the hockey's there. The skill you don't have is the mental skill, and so that's what I teach them. I mean, that mental skill is directly related to their confidence.
So Liam, I've got a question for you. So talking about pressure, talking about confidence, we're kind of turning up the heat a little bit in Salt Lake City going into this second year, right? Everybody's talking about, oh, you know, we really want to make the playoffs this season, right? It's no longer, as Bill Armstrong put it a million times last year, playing meaningful hockey. You know, we're talking about postseason, you know, at Delta Center this next April. So I'm curious, are you preparing differently mentally? Are there different conversations going on with the team of how to handle that pressure? Because like I said, you know, fans are expecting a little bit more. You know, the media is expecting a little bit more. So how do you prepare for that?
No pressure.
I was just about to say, I can't wait for your answer.
He's like, I know
just
what I'm
like
talking
Kel
about with
said,
Alicia.
pretty sure Kel said it to you, right? It's playoffs or failure,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, and I totally agree with him. I think we have the team to be a playoff team. I thought we had the team to be a playoff team last year. So yeah, we're always preparing. I mean, me and Alicia have had conversations about that, of course, and I definitely know, like I you feel it, but I think there's like an excitement for me. Like I'm excited. Like I'm just gonna go out and play hard and like do what I do and just do it at the highest level. I've trained hard all summer. I've taken really good care of my body. I'm proud of where I'm at right now. So, you know, in 30 days time, you know, camp's going to start and the tone is for sure going to be different. I'm expecting that, but it's exciting. Like it's exciting to be on a team now where it's like, all right, like let's go win. Like we have the team to go win a championship. Like let's go and do it. And it feels like a mission and yeah, just excitement's really just the only thing that I'm feeling right now.
That got me pumped.
Excited for you
So
guys.
excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. That last game of the season, especially just knowing how much excitement is around Utah right now in general for this, it's very cool to see.
Did you get to see him play live this season?
Yeah, I actually when he played the Red Wings, I was in Michigan at the time. I was home in Michigan. He played the Red Wings. My brother and I went to go watch him play, of course. I always try to make it out the season is hectic for me because as you can imagine, and everyone's in different time zones here and there, but I try to make it out to at least 2 or 3 games for each client. So I came to that game, or I saw that him play that game, and then I came to the very last game in Utah, the last game of the season. So that was nice.
It's great because she like ISO cams you, and then after the game she'll be like, "Hey,
We need to talk.
that body language there, though, like you can't be doing that, you know, like
She has
little
notes.
things like that." So no,
She's like a hockey parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
Like
no,
a
but
scout.
I'm
in a good way.
Like a scout.
in a good way,
Yeah.
but in a different way,
Yes.
like in a different way. So it's funny. Something similar happened with Luca Del Bel Blues. He plays for the Blue Jackets, and I was at a game of his, and he goes. Before I could even say anything, I walked down to the friends and family room, and before I could even say anything, he goes, I know what you saw. I know what you saw. And he was like slumping of his shoulders. And I go, I didn't say anything. And he goes, I was sitting on the bench and I thought in my head, Alicia's watching me right now. I know what she's going to say. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. You just know what I expect. But it's good because they're self-correcting. So that's the way I justify it.
You usually know in the moment too.
Yeah.
If they're self-correcting, you've already done your job. That's fantastic.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Liam, I have another question for you because I find this very interesting. Obviously, when you drop the gloves, it's not just a physical battle, but how is it a mental battle? You know, like how are you trying to win that fight both mentally and physically?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely the mental battle of the fighting side of it, right? When you look at our team, there's really only a couple guys that when they're going into a game, they have the thought in their head of, oh, like I might have to fight tonight, right? So it definitely adds something to the overall game itself and the pressure, right? It adds. It doesn't, it's there. And so I think, I love my job and I love what I do. But when you're not feeling hyped up, when you're not feeling high energy, like, could you imagine fighting a guy on the street and you're not feeling it? You're just not feeling it,
You're not juiced
So
up
it's
to
just
drop.
like-
I don't want to do this.
and so that's where like now I've got these tools that just like I find I'm able to I go into games and I just feel so much more calm. I feel so much more confident, and I more or less let it like I go out and play my game, and if it happens, it happens, and I know I'm ready. So it's it's a good question.
Alicia, what went through your mind when you saw Liam fight and then there was blood coming down, streaming down his face, and he hyped Delta Center? Because that
She was like, wow, he did the confidence
that
thing.
was a
We got
legendary moment. But I gotta know what was going through your mind.
Well, at first I was concerned. I was just like, is he all right? Like my first thought for any player is always concern. Like I always say to them before, like, have a safe game. I won't say have a good game. I always say have a safe game. So first I was watching 2 games at once because I was watching another client. So I was watching both at the same time. And I'm like, what is he? Oh, and then I see that picture and I'm like, no, here he goes. But it was pretty wild. But it's, my thing is always just for safety first and just a concern. But then also like, a picture looks worse and blood looks worse than something might be sometimes. But I also am, and it's something I have great respect for him for, is that I am very sure of him. I'm very sure of him. So I know that I've taught him well and hopefully will continue to do so. And that I know that he has like the tools that he needs to mentally just stay dialed in before or after a fight or whatever happens for him and any player. So
The hardest part
Yeah,
about a
'cause
fight is after the fight because
Yeah,
you have this adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
That just
Yeah.
rushes through you. And
Then you're like,
when
ouch,
you're
my
done,
face.
then you gotta put your helmet and gloves back on, grab your stick, and you gotta go out there and play the rest of the game after that adrenaline has kind of
yeah.
gone
Mhm.
down. And so I think that's actually something I would admit that I struggled with a little bit was after a fight, the way that I felt and everything like that's a big thing that's changed in my game is
Mhm.
now like it's like the complete opposite.
That was
Um,
the main thing.
yeah.
That was the main thing is like, and I have great respect for Liam and anybody else in his position, but I have great respect for him for many reasons, but especially that because, and I wish more people knew this is that is something that he was like, hey, I need support with this. And I never thought about that from somebody in his role who, you know, does fight. I never thought about that because it is physically taxing, but it's also mentally taxing. And so it, but then at the same time, if it happens in the first period, you have a whole game left to play and you need to stay mentally dialed in. And so I have great respect for that because it was so overlooked, at least from my perspective, and underappreciated. And so being able to support him and how to stay mentally dialed in, no matter when it happens in the game, because it does, there's a whole physiological thing that happens when you're fighting, right? And have to refocus and get yourself back in the game mentally. And now he can do that. And it's great to know that now he can do that because before I was like, oh, this is rough.
Yeah. It's something that most people wouldn't even think about.
So what did you have to change? What do you do differently now to make sure that you can dial back in and play?
I
Can't give the secrets away.
I was gonna say, you have to get
Keep
through the
those secrets,
paywall.
It's Cole's job to push the envelope.
It is.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be watching.
Where do we say no?
Maybe I'll tell Beggs, maybe I'll tell you off
Okay.
camera, that way you can have
No, he won't. No, he won't. No, he
Yeah,
won't.
Alicia's gonna charge him for that.
There we go.
I'll charge double.
Alicia, what kinds of things? Obviously, like we're saying, this mental health is not going away. We're just shining so many lights on it. What can the NHL do moving forward to kind of focus on players' mental health? I think one of the things that we discussed during the draft was that these children, you know, are all of a sudden in the spotlight and playing games. Like it just gets kind of crazy. So what are the steps that the NHL can take to kind of better the league that way?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I just want to be careful as to not speak too much on the NHL specifically because I know the resources they provide.
Sure,
I know most teams provide a resource for sure. And I think the best thing that they can be doing, I'll just say, is be talking about emotional well-being, be talking about normalizing it, right? And I think honestly to this point, I feel like it's really is normal. After the Stanley Cup playoffs, I remember Knobloch talking about how a lot of the guys in Edmonton, they have 2 psychologists for the team. I believe he said, don't quote me, it's in an athletic article somewhere. And then most guys have their own private psychologist. And so it just seems like it's just the normal thing to have as part of your system, the same way you have a strength and conditioning coach and all of that. And so I think just or a nutritionist or what have you. So I think just talking about it more. You're right. The NHL is unique in how players are drafted from a young age, and then they either go to school or the OHL or whatever they're doing, and until they get to the NHL.
House and billeting, you know, with other families, and it's hard.
Yeah. But you know, the stories that I hear mostly, the majority are good, where they have good experiences with billets and all of that. So I think really just talking about it, but also what I find is a lot of guys are not super comfortable going to somebody who maybe works directly for the team, rightfully so. And so having their own outside source. So I think the NHL being aware of other people who work outside of the league, outside of the team, like such as myself, I don't work for a team. I've been asked to, but for this reason, rather, you know, just be like, hey, I'm here if you guys need me. You can refer out to me, kind of a thing. So I think that's helpful. But I really think it just starts with talking about something. The less you talk about something, you know, there's this saying in psychology that shame grows in secrecy. So the less you don't talk about something, the more the shame around it grows. So just talking about something makes it, you know, everyday conversation makes it normal.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I also think that, sorry, I just have a comment and then ask a question. Yeah. I just want to say thank you again to Liam, because I do think blood dripping down your face and you appear so confident to the fans, especially here. So you willing to shine a light on it is really powerful.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's something that like the game has changed so much, and now you've got social media and everything is out there in terms of like video, and you know, there's guys that become memes and things like that. It's just it's just a different world that we live in now. It's a very everything. It's just different, and it's. I can't imagine some of these younger guys how much crazier it's going to get even in 10 or 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that these resources are being made available, and it's great, and it just keeps you dialed in. It keeps you ready. It keeps you, um, like I said before, just like keeps you good at home, like around my family, and um, stress free. And yeah, it's a good feeling.
Maybe a question for both of you, but maybe more so. I mean, both of you are are at least somewhat active on social media. I guess as a final question, what message would you have for fans in terms of, because obviously the league is concerned with players' mental health, and there's a lot of initiatives that they've taken on. I feel like over the last 5 to 10 years, as the subject of mental health has become less taboo. What message would you have to fans in terms of their role in maybe helping with players' mental health, and maybe something that they can do or do less of?
Liam, do you want to go first, or would you like me to?
Sorry, guys. My wife and my child just walked in, so I got a little distracted on the question.
No, it's
Okay,
okay.
I'll answer the question.
Okay.
I'll answer for both of us. Okay.
Great.
So I think a really important piece, and this again might sound cliche, but like a lot of cliches, it's true, where, they are people first before they're players.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just have such great respect for especially NHL players, because I see what they go through. I see how hard they work and how much they care about what they're doing. So for any fan who maybe might have something less than ideal to say,
Yeah.
and really to think about, if you worked so hard for something you cared for, if you worked tremendously towards this thing that you care for, and you're putting all of your time and effort into it, and not only just for you and your goals, but also so that fan who's about to write maybe that not so great comment can have entertainment, because it is a source of entertainment for everybody. And it's why people, sports brings people together. It's like, think about that before maybe you put something out that is less than ideal or hurtful or is just not necessary, and maybe is nothing other than support. And don't get me wrong, sometimes there are things that are warranted, feeling a quote unquote negative way about a player, or maybe a player does something that isn't right, or whatever the case might be. These things happen, sure, but we are so much more than the maybe little mistakes we make, and we're so much more than what you see of somebody, right? So these players are more than players. They're people first, and they're more than just what you see on the ice. There's a whole life to them that should be respected and appreciated. So for me, it's really just to think about, what is the impact of what you're saying? And also, I'm just going to pull some self-esteem out here for a second, since it's what I talk to the guys about, but how you feel about yourself influences how you behave, and how you behave influences how you feel about yourself. So as a fan, if you're leaving comments that are not nice, or if you're doing things that are not nice, we know with the Maple Leafs and stuff at the end of the season, they didn't have really, there was a lot of talk around that, and things that were happening around that. It's like, think about how that makes you feel as a person, how you feel about yourself, and also how it represents and reflects on your own character. So that's what I have to say. But the majority I think are good. I think, sometimes the negativity, it's just a few bad actors. But I think the majority, hockey is wonderful because it has such a wonderful fan base.
We say hockey is family. You're speaking to 3 people, our co-hosts here, who get bullied on the internet pretty often. So we're used to that. Cole Bagley's bald. I don't know if you know that, but he gets told that online.
Ask anybody at Calgary, they'll let you know.
Did I give you a hard time about that?
Being bald?
I love that we're going into this.
Do you need a few sessions about that? Is your self-esteem?
No, I rock the bald. I know it. I left Dustin Wolf off of out of the top 3 of rookies of the year in my because I get votes towards the awards.
Got it.
And
Got it.
Those ballots are made public, which I have no problem with. But literally every single Flames fan just went absolutely after me, and
it was awesome.
I just had fun with it. I had fun with it.
Yeah, it's good because Cole is somebody who is really okay with who he is, and when he puts something out there, he is more than happy to back it up and doesn't really take things back.
When I praised one of their chirps, and they're like, "Stop being nice to me. I'm trying to be mean to you."
Yes.
But you guys, what's great for you guys is you guys can clap back, like us as players, right?
True.
Yeah.
I mean, Marshawn's kind of like Marchie's starting to kind of do it a little bit, but it's hard because there's like the line, right? And you never want to cross the line as a player, but there's some people who will chirp me or say something, and like I just have like the best line to come back with, but I'm like, I can't say that. Like I gotta like hold, like on the ice, I obviously
and do some shadow
on the ice I let it fly. On the ice I let it fly, but when
Yeah.
it comes to like the fans and stuff like that, like I usually just I keep it to myself. But
last week we had on PWHL champion Melissa Channel Watkins, and she was teaching us some chirps, and one of the chirps that is apparently very
chirps.
prominent in the PWHL is just staring at somebody with a straight face and saying you need therapy. So this is relevant.
you
You know
therapy.
what? That's a good one. And or to stare at them and say, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, are you okay?"
Therapy.
Liam's
Did
gonna
you
start
Alicia?
using those.
Yeah, I think those are like the best ones that you
Yeah.
could probably start implementing.
Liam, next time you drop the gloves, just look at the guy and just say, "I think you need
Yeah.
therapy," and then punch him in the face.
And then
I think you need to
give
reach
him
out to
Alicia's
Dr.
cards. Yeah.
Hey.
Give him Dr.
You hand them
Nasser's
my cards.
Hey, dude, I think
I
you need
honestly
to reach
think
out
if
to
I did
Dr.
that, I
Alicia
think the
Naser.
guy would just start laughing. I think he'd start laughing. Like he'd probably just start laughing.
That's great.
This was so fun, you guys. We're so grateful that you were able to be here and talk about all of these topics. It's so important, and we're so happy to have you shine a light on it. We are so grateful that you're here and listening. Thank you for being here on the Utah Hockey Podcast. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. We have a couple things we wanted to get to. First, happy birthday to Cole Bagley in a few months.
Yeah, in December.
In December.
We missed Cole's birthday in December because he wasn't a part.
Because we weren't friends.
Because he was
Yeah,
on
we
the
didn't-
podcast. We didn't know him
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, not really. Didn't really get to know Cole till later in the season. So here we are.
So 8 months
Happy
later.
birthday.
Thank you.
We're not going to sing it.
Yeah, good. You
Cole?
want to know something about me?
Yes.
I hate being sung to. My
Oh,
birthday.
you
we
shouldn't
have to
have
do
told
it.
us
Very, very good to
that.
know.
That was such a
You
bad thing
shouldn't
to tell us.
have told us. Can I just say subjectively that the happy birthday song sucks?
It does.
There's
and you
no
just,
reason we
you
all do
sit
that.
there like an idiot.
Yeah, agree.
And everyone sings to you. It's the stupidest thing.
I agree with
We
you.
need that. We need that face screenshotted as a thumbnail.
Make a meme of that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We have a gift. Go ahead. You can introduce it, I guess.
So for people that watched last week, they're gonna be like, "Sweet, the exact same thing's happening." We all know Cole didn't watch last week's episode.
Of course not. I'm not in it.
He
Why
was
would
like,
I watch
I have diarrhea. I can't.
exactly. Some plumbing issues Cole had at his home. I was reached out to by a company that purchases the bulk unused gear from teams around the league, and then resells it online. It's like it. I mean, some of it is actually used. Some of it's just pro stock. Cole, I have a few things for you.
Take your headphones off.
So that I don't look like I don't know what I'm doing out there.
There's your
anymore.
number one thing.
Oh boy.
He doesn't even
Cole's
know
gonna be
that
looking
I
so
already got
fresh.
them.
Yo, these are sweet.
Aren't they so cool? Guess what? I played with them and I was like, these are really good gloves.
Whose gloves are these?
They're just
Yours now.
they're just like the team stock gloves.
Team
Yeah.
stock?
Yep. Hold them up a little bit
Yeah,
so
show
the
'em to
camera
the
can see
camera.
them.
There's a problem with
In
these gloves
frame.
though. I don't like. I'm gonna look like I'm really good and I'm not.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
problem.
fine.
But it's
It's all right.
I wear them too, so.
Toss me one of the gloves.
Like, I'm not gonna say who it was, but there was a certain media member that we were playing with, and he was outfitted, had the best gear, right?
Yeah.
And these kids on the bench that were probably like high school or like early college, they're like, "Who's that guy over there? Because he's got the best gear, but he sucks."
It wasn't.
It
me.
wasn't you.
Okay,
It
good.
wasn't
Because
you.
I have decent gear.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
think.
you.
I think when I go out on the ice, people are like, maybe this guy's gonna be good. As soon as I touch the puck, they're like, not a shot.
I need you to know that my gloves were 10 years old and from Play It Again when he just gave me these last week.
Okay.
It's like
My
epic,
gloves?
epic 10 out of 10.
My
Mine are
wife's gonna be so happy because now my hands don't.
stink. I know.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
get
thing.
it out.
Unfortunately, even for the ladies.
Okay.
Ready for the
Number
next
two,
one?
was this part of it?
Yeah.
Get ready to have a better stick than the lame stick that you already have.
the lights.
Here we go. It's so big it went across Kelly's screen. It's going to look weird because I don't know where squares are going to end up on the screen, and then it's going to be like coming through different.
It's like Cold Christmas.
Can we make this like a yearly thing?
Yeah.
I think we actually probably could.
Can we
yes.
make it for every podcast? Look at how dorky we all are.
So
Look at
in
us.
order to actually like fit the size, because I wanted you to poke check like I can poke check.
This is Stenny's stick. Man.
Yes. Yep.
That's a big boy.
Yep.
Ooh,
This is gnarly.
I know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
isn't that so fun?
This is incredible.
Honestly, I'll say the same thing that I said last week. You guys deserve cool things because you do cool things for the Utah hockey community. So
That's very sweet.
Let me know when
Thank
they
you.
have skates.
I will. I will. What? You don't like your skates?
You don't like me anymore. They're 13 years old. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you're
this
welcome.
is amazing. Literally, I busted my stick, my sweet baby Easton Mako, and I was so sad about it.
Well, now that we learned that
thank you.
Sidney Crosby doesn't actually have a curved stick, we'll see how
And
Stenny's does for you.
This is way more forgiving
Yeah.
in terms of the curve on this thing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
win a lot of face-offs. No, I'm not.
I win a lot of face-offs.
Thank you guys.
Yay!
Appreciate it.
I did nothing, but
That's
I
why
was
Stenny
also a
wins all
recipient.
of those faceoffs.
Yep. Okay. We threw up
Should I
a.
wear these the rest of the podcast?
Yes, please. That's what I was picturing when he said, "Should we do this first?" We threw up a mailbag onto Cole Bagley's Twitter, and we're gonna get to answer some of his questions. Can you scroll your phone while you do that, though?
No.
Can he
Why I'm
tweet?
here. That's why I'm here.
Oh, Tanner's gonna read some. Okay.
I gotta
Okay.
do something.
Thanks, producer
go.
Tanner.
All right, I'm just gonna fire these off.
Yeah, we're just doing mailbag roulette here, and if you guys have an answer,
Well,
as
the funny thing
jump
is, I
in.
was scrolling the Twitter, and I was like, I don't think I'm smart enough to answer some of these. So continue.
I don't know if I am either.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, from the Blue Marauder. Do you think Utah has one more trade in them? Maybe a 2C.
No.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so either.
And I think they're going to be a lot more like, well, they didn't really do anything at the trade deadline anyways
No.
last season, but I think they're definitely going to be a team that just like, let's see how this goes, right? Like they did a lot during the summer. Like they made a big trade for Paterka. You know, they acquired all this veteran depth. Bill Armstrong said this is the most competitive training camp that they've ever had, the most competitive roster that he's overseen while, you know,
Yeah.
looking over this team. So I think they're good right now, and I think they want to see how does this go.
Yeah. I also don't think there's anything on the trade block that they need. Like the names that come to mind are guys that float around like McTavish and Marco Rossi, and I just don't really see those as guys that Utah needs at this point. Would they be a fine ad? Sure.
Yeah.
But Marco Rossi is a very JJ Paterka like player. And I don't really see any.
We're not
need
going
to
to
add.
make
Yeah.
those moves
Nope.
either
Well, and who would
preseason
you
when we
move?
haven't seen them. Right.
Yeah.
And who would you move?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you want
We've played
to
this game
see-
before.
I know.
Yeah.
Who do you cut? We don't know.
There's not really anybody that they're looking to move right now.
Nope.
Yeah.
So
Next.
Okay, there are a few kind of in this same lane. This is Alan McFarlane. Okay, these are coming from a bit of a novice, so please forgive me. This is basic. What's going on with the Cooley situation? I assumed we'd be hearing about a new contract locking him up in Utah this summer.
yeah, that's a good question. I think people are kind of wondering like what's going on with Cooley because like the team showed up and Dylan Gunther signed a big gigantic extension, right? Like he's
Yeah.
going to be in Utah for the next almost decade. And I think a lot of people are expecting that, but this summer and last summer are a lot different because the cap is going up quite a bit more and is continuing to go up.
That's why
And so-
signing Gunther was such a good
Yes.
move by the team. And
5 years from
Yeah.
now, maybe even before that deal is going to be just a steal.
yeah, when he scores 30 goals this season, people are going to be like, wow.
Yeah.
Turns out that's a really good move. Yeah.
Bargain deal.
Yeah, it'll be seen as one of the better contracts.
But with Cooley, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more difficult on the team end. And that's league wide, right? Like any player that's about that age, and even guys that are older, I think Connor McDavid is somebody that the Oilers are kind of going to be facing a similar situation this next offseason. I don't know that he's going to sign a 7-year extension, an 8-year extension, right? Like, so players are looking more at player-friendly contracts because the league is expanding. The league is becoming more popular. There's more money going into it. There's more sponsorship going into it.
Yeah.
And so for a guy like Cooley, and fans may not want to hear this, it's smarter for him to wait until this next summer.
Yeah.
Most likely. Because if he can go out and he can put up 80 to 90 points, that is pushing up, that annual salary, that AAV exponentially.
Yeah.
And with the cap increase, that only helps him. So
the scheduled cap increase too over the next 3 years, which is about, I think, equals out to almost $4 million a season.
Exactly.
Like a $12 million cap jump. You think about by the end of his contract, if he's like, if I sign 8 years, the cap's going to jump $25 million by the time that's over, and I'll be making $5 million less a year than than players like that at that point will. I think, there's no reason for him to sign too much of a contract right now.
Right. So, what I know is that talks are still in the fairly early stages.
Yeah.
Something will get done. Like, there's no need to worry that Cooley's going anywhere. He's going to be a Mammoth. He's going to be a Mammoth for a long time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it is a bridge deal. It doesn't matter if it's a 5-year contract. It doesn't matter if they have to match an offer sheet. Cooley is staying in Utah, but I don't know if it's going to look exactly like Gunther's situation. There needs to be, understanding and a willingness to kind of be realistic on both ends. And Utah wants him as long as they can because they realize this kid's a budding superstar. So they're going to keep him here, but now it's kind of in, Cooley's court of what are we willing to do?
Yeah.
Do we want more friendly? Is it better for Cooley to only sign 5 years so that he doesn't leave money on the table for the next 3 seasons after that as he steps into his prime? Or does he kind of look at it and go, you know what? I want to be here. I'm willing to be here. Yeah, the cap's going up, but I can still make plenty of money. And hey, let's try to win a championship here. So I think it's more in his court.
Yeah.
You also have to look at the benefit of if you sign Cooley for 8 years, for an 8-year extension, his and Gunther's, and then I think Sergachev's deals all expiring in the same deal is not good.
No.
You don't want all of a sudden $20 to $25 million in AAV coming off the books and having to renegotiate that all in one off season. So if he does sign a 5 or a 6 year deal, I don't know. I kind of see it as an advantage. You also keep him happy because then by the end of his contract, he's not. I think fans need to understand that like what you see in the NBA and the NFL right now, you're going to start seeing that in the NHL. And maybe sooner rather than later.
Hopefully not to that extreme.
Yeah, not to that extreme, but you're going to see players being like, why am I making $7 million a year when my production
I'm worth $12 million.
When I'm worth $12 million right now, when I sign my deal, but you're going to start seeing that to some extent in the league. And I don't know to what extent, and I'm not really sure how it's going to play out. But you didn't see that in the NBA 20 years ago.
Right.
And that's about where the NHL is right now.
Yeah, the Sidney Crosbys are not going to sign deals for way less than what they're worth and
because
way
they want to
longer.
win.
Yeah, because they want to win because they're just good, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Good teammates.
Well, that and gosh, I'm totally blanking right now. Like they're committed.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not going to see as much commitment because, money makes the world go round. And like you said, there's going to be less and less players that are willing to take, less money into the long-term deals because, Dylan Gunther might reach a point where he is worth $10 to $12 million, but guess what? He signed, a max, extension deal for only 7.25 or 7.5.
Yeah.
And the Costco membership, premier membership will.
Right.
I think you'll see even McDavid near the end of his career doing what LeBron James is doing right now, where it's like 2 years, $100 million.
Right.
But not to that extent, but it will be shorter term, these little like deals that take advantage of the absolute max amount of cap you can take that year.
It's more power to the player.
It's more power to the player, and it's sometimes it sucks for the organization, but it's the growth of the sport seeing that's going to be a
Right.
good thing.
So the takeaway is, first of all, Cooley's not going anywhere. He's
Yes.
going to be in Utah for the foreseeable future. But, league-wide, we're seeing kind of a little bit of an adjustment having to be made because the cap is increasing and you have these players that are being more aware of themselves and what they're worth and what they're going to be worth down the road. So stay patient. It will happen.
They've got a year to make it happen.
Yeah,
too,
they have a
so,
year to make it
yeah.
happen. And honestly, I would, as of right now, I would not expect a deal to get done before the season starts, but things can change. So
Yeah.
I would say stay patient, stay tuned. He's going to stay. We'll just see what that looks like.
Yeah.
From Hockeyman, is Andre Tierney the right coach? I know he's good at development, but can he make a Stanley Cup team?
I mean, I think we'll see this year, right? I think Tierney is a good coach. I think his strength is development. I think we've seen that in terms of Keller, in terms of the young guys right now, and Cooley and Gunther. It's going to be exciting to see what he can do with Peterka and this deep pool of prospects. Iginla and Baudouin and all those players. But this year's big for Tierney. I think his contract is up at the end of the season.
I'm not sure exactly when his
I
contract
got it.
expires. Yeah.
I believe it is. Tanner will look that up too.
Those are the conversations that we've had a lot this year, because there were moments where people were saying get rid of him, or why did they bring him to Utah? But when you're asking what you're asking of the players who are so young still, it's hard to say that he's not getting the best out of them when they need to perform at their best still in the coming years.
Yes. Even Clayton Keller's 26 years old.
Yeah.
27.
Yep.
26 still, maybe.
It's
Still very young.
through 26, 27.
Okay, so one more year. Okay, so
Yeah.
these we're talking about this with Liam. The pressure's turning up for everybody. The rebuild. We're in Utah stepping into year 5 of the rebuild, and now it's not like, hey, we have this excuse because we're really young. Hey, we have this excuse because we don't have very good players.
Because we don't have goalie depth. Because
Yeah.
our defense sucks.
Yeah.
Which 2 years ago in Arizona, their defense was absolute
Terrible.
trash.
Yes, worse than the league.
Horrible defense, and so you couldn't really grade the goalies.
Yeah.
There was so many
It's
excuses,
not-
and there was
yeah.
even excuses
Right.
last year, legitimate excuses to make in terms of performance. So
And I think the only real excuse you have this year is that your top players are still fairly young and inexperienced.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But as a whole, there's really no excuses anymore. There's no room to point your finger at something and say, well, we're not playing our best because of this, or we're not making the playoffs because of this. And that goes for the coaching staff. That goes for Tierney. And so, let's let him answer that question. I think he's a good coach, but can he coach a team to the Stanley Cup playoffs? We'll see. And it's
remains
important.
to be seen for most coaches in the league too. I think it's a fair question, but it's a question that, if when applied across the league, I think development is really, really important. So we'll just kind of see how it pans out in terms of winning meaningful games.
But now it's his time to
Prove it.
to prove it.
Yeah.
Right.
If he makes the playoffs this year, I think that his job is extremely, extremely safe.
Yeah, super secure.
So, I mean, we'll just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
How many more do you want?
3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
From Hade, do you think our top 6 forwards we have right now are Stanley Cup winning forwards, or do we need to change 1, 2, or 3 of them?
No,
I-
they're
I-
not. They're not.
I read this last night, and I think we have talked about this on the podcast ad nauseum. I just feel like we have discussed all of these players and where they're successful and where they're unsuccessful, and comparing them to the Stanley Cup winning Panthers and seeing massive discrepancies.
Right.
It's very hard to compare a team who had so much grit, was so scrappy to be able to put themselves back to back in playoffs, let alone win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
So looking at our guys who are so young, who maybe, just like we were discussing with Liam, struggle with that confidence and mental game quite a bit. You need to be confident to play against some of the best players in the
Right.
world. And it's hard to say, yes, we are so ready, this is happening, when we just haven't seen it yet.
Right. And I know we just talked about there's not excuses. And when I say that, there's not excuses for this team not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's plenty of excuses for them not to be compared to Stanley Cup winning teams.
Yeah.
And, I answered the question. I said, no, they're not. But the number one thing going against them right now is age and experience. No, Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther are not Stanley Cup winning forwards right now.
Yeah.
I think they can be.
Yeah.
I think Keller is starting to approach that time in his career where he can be a Stanley Cup winning
Especially
forward,
after
a top
that
6 guy.
goal, do you feel that
Yeah.
glory?
All three of those players will
be at some point.
and are on a course to be.
Right.
I think there are questions that lie on the second line.
I
in
think
terms of
Peterka is
center
on,
and-
is
center
on
and
that
wing.
same
I think-
trajectory.
yes, I think
but
Peterka's on
your,
that same.
Your questions are Schmaltz and Hayton.
Yes, the questions are Schmaltz and Hayden. Can Hayden make a jump this year?
Yeah.
Can Schmaltz stay consistent because he produces points?
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of different feelings from fans about Nick Schmaltz, but he's a good hockey player.
Yeah, he's a good hockey player.
And he's a second line player, and maybe on a championship team, maybe on a team
Third.
like the Panthers, he'd be a third line
Yeah.
winger, but a productive third line winger.
Yes.
So I think could they be, but like maybe, but if there were maybe a hole in that top six, I would probably I wouldn't talk so much about Peterka, Keller.
I think Keller is right now.
Cooley,
I think Keller
yes,
is.
Yes, yeah.
And then the other three, Guenther, and
They're so
Cooley and
young.
Peterka, they're on
Yeah.
that trajectory.
23 and under.
We're like,
yeah.
no excuses, but they're so young.
Yeah,
Such little babies.
No excuses to not
Make
make
the
a really,
playoffs.
really legitimate case for the
For
playoffs.
sure.
Yes.
Tons of excuses in
For
terms
not
of
winning a title.
when you
next
start putting the Panthers up against the Mammoth, there's holes.
It's like
Yes.
and it's like Bill Armstrong has said a lot this summer, is you're not winning Stanley Cups when your best players are 21 and 22 and 23. You're winning
Yeah.
Stanley Cups when they're 27, 28. Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, like that's the age those guys are
Yeah.
right now. And
Yeah.
so to fully answer the question, no, they are not, but I believe they can be.
Yeah.
And I believe that they will continue to do things and to make moves and to get the right players to where we can confidently say maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road that yes, the top six are when Denoye is ready, when Iginla is ready,
Yeah.
when Baudouin is ready. Like, yes, they're going to get to that
When
point.
Simashev
Just
and-
hearing
and-
Denoye
yeah.
talk about winning, I'm like, yeah, that guy
Exactly.
wants it. Got
Yep.
that mentality.
From Hombre de Queso,
Mm.
kind of man. What are the biggest
Man of
camp?
cheese.
Delicioso.
What are the biggest camp battles / roster decisions? Will the Mammoth lose some depth, some of their depth, when the team has to send down players like Yamamoto who can play in the NHL because there simply isn't a spot for them on the roster?
Yo pienso que sí.
I don't know. what
Hombre
that
de
means.
queso.
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú?
Great. That's a great question. And it's what we can't even figure it out. You
I don't know.
like
We've done this.
I'm glad that I
over
don't
and
have
over.
to watch camp and make these decisions. I get to
Yes.
watch camp and speculate on how these
Yeah,
decisions are going to be made.
the
So
biggest
true. Yeah.
the biggest battles are going to be the bottom six and your top defensive pairing.
Yep.
Because they signed a lot of depth, and yes, you are going to lose some of that depth because you only have so many roster spots, and that's a good thing. That's what you want because that depth doesn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, they technically go play in Tucson, but it's not like you can't touch them. It's not like you like.
Also, you got to plan for these injuries.
Right, like you
happens all year.
You want your depth to be so
Strong.
deep and strong that you
want your
have.
depth to be
Can
deep,
somebody
guys.
tweet that right now? Thank you.
You want
I'm
your
making that
depth
into
to
a
be
post.
deep.
you want really good players to not make it.
Yeah.
Because that means you're a really good team.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge positive to have. But those are the battles I would look for is,
You don't want it to be easy.
Right.
You don't want to show up and be like, I guess we'll put this guy
exactly.
in. Yeah.
You want Yamamoto to be pushing and like I think he's a great player. I think he does belong in the NHL, but you want to have a guy like that where you have to make a tough decision and go, sorry, man.
Go
We're
tear
so
up the
full.
A
Yeah.
until we have an injury.
We'll call ya.
You say, sorry, sir, our depth is so deep that
Yeah.
we don't have room this time.
Go score 50, 60 points in the A and we'll call you if we need you.
Yep.
Like that's a good problem to have. So
Very
True.
good problem.
no, the depth isn't going away. It's
An
getting
embarrassment of
deeper.
riches.
Yeah,
Yes.
like Utah has a lot of opportunity. It's because they learned from last season. They need that depth, not only in the forwards, but they need it in the defensemen. And to me, that bottom pairing is probably going to be like the most intense because of any position battle, because you probably have 10 or 11 NHL ready, capable defensemen, and it's going to come down to like, do you really, scratch or not have a guy that led the NHL in blocks and Cole out on the ice every night? You just brought in Nate Schmidt and paid him over $3 million a year. He's got Stanley Cup champion experience, but then you're also saying that Dmitry Simashev is ready, and you've got D Simone and a handful of other guys. Like, that is going to be so fun to watch. And and those, like I said, bottom six and that final third defensive pairing, those are going to be the battles to pay attention to.
There's a fun gap on the team between young players scrapping to make the roster and older players who deserve a spot that are.
Well, I think that's why they brought in so much depth.
Yes, yeah.
Is to push these kids.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not just be like, oh, welcome to the team.
Right,
Everyone gets to
so
play.
Bad you get to play.
Everything's so fun. And we all
Exactly.
share
It
hotel
does look
rooms.
fun, guys.
No,
They're
like,
milking cookies.
Simashev, you're ready? Prove it.
But I also like watching my team win hockey games, so you don't really get that in San Jose.
I guess.
The Sharks are catching strays. I'm sorry, guys. The future's not teal. The future lies at the base of the Wasatch Mountains at the Delta Center.
Put that in a post. I got chills. ¿Cómo se dice the depth is deep en español?
Water is wet, okay?
I don't got that one for
Yo
you.
no sé.
From Hey Red, who do you expect to have the largest breakout this season? Kind of a just fun, broad question for each of you.
Start over there.
It's hard not to say kind of the traditional answers, so I won't. I think that it would be healthy to put some expectation where we were just talking about. Put some expectation on Barrett Hayton. That rhymed. I liked that. Put some expectation on that second line center, because if he can go out and perform, especially I think that with a steady second line, Barrett Hayton can be a really, really solid player. Playing with a guy like JJ Peterka, and who knows how the lines shake out, he'll have a better second line and maybe a more consistent pairing. I would expect maybe a little bit of a jump from Barrett Hayton, and I hope to see that, because it would be refreshing and it would maybe answer a lot of questions.
I have a cheater answer, which is that I think our defensive core as a whole is going to be amplified this year. I think Nate Schmidt is going to win the fans over and be a massive fan favorite. I think that they are going to work their buns off, and then to have Veggie in net and know that he's going to, make plays with them. I just think that's going to light the crowd up, which is going to get bigger and bigger as well. I think our defensive core is going to crush this year.
Yes. I'm going to go with two answers. I think Logan Cooley will take a significant 20 to 25 point jump. I think that's a big breakout, right? Like,
Yeah.
he kind of broke out this year, but like, can he play the way he played from like November, December through the rest of the season? Because it took him a while to kind of get going.
Yeah, and
And
even
once
through
he
the
was going-
Worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you keep that up?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
is this guy going to post 80 to 90 points? That would be huge. And then I like the Barrett Hayton answer. He kind of started to figure it out as the season went on.
Yeah.
And, this is a former first-round pick that I believe he's a restricted free agent next season. You got to prove some stuff, man.
Yeah. He
Like-
didn't get a prove it contract, but this is a prove it year. That
Right.
final year of an initial contract is pretty vital.
He was the first hat trick in Utah Hockey Club history.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
he
Yeah.
knows how to prove it. He needs to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He needs to be more effective in the face-off circle. He needs to be more assertive. I think he needs to, and just continue to do what he kind of did, which was I think he was kind of the biggest pest in the crease
Yeah.
area. And
Can
he's not
guys
the
like
biggest
Brandon
body.
Tanev can practicing with guys like Tanev and Schmidt and these guys who will come in and kind of challenge him a little bit?
Poke him.
Will that help him? Maybe? Hopefully he watched what the Panthers did last year and was like, maybe I need to be a little bit more like that.
Yeah. We all
And
say
so-
that.
He's not like as big as some of those
No.
guys, but like play like Marchand.
Yeah,
He's
Marchand's teeny.
so obnoxious.
He's a short guy. I mean, obviously he's dense, but
Right.
he's built like a hockey player. But
Right.
you don't have to be tall to be a pest.
No,
I
you
think
don't.
the best pests come from this eye line right here. When you can headbutt somebody and hit him in the chin.
Yeah.
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 Last question. I honestly expected to see this one more. From Utah Hockey Club, if you had to put a percentage chance on it, how likely is it for Simichev and Boot to make the opening day roster?
Yeah, I'm disappointed that more people have not asked this, and that, you know,
I really kind of expected more from the fan base, and hopefully asking that question more.
it's really.
Thank you so much for watching the Utah Hockey Podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, including KSL Sports on YouTube, at KSL Sports under the podcast tab, on the KSL Sports app, and on KSL Sports on our website. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time.
And if you've listened to this far, we'll be giving away a Karel Vejmelka stick from the podcast page. So you can be the first to it. It'll happen next week.
Can I be in the drawing?
No.
Ah, darn it.
That's amazing.
Bye.
Love you.